Hi, I'm Nina Lenton. Welcome to Creative Conversations, where I ask my guests, what does the word creativity mean to you? I'm here today with Jon Richards, who is a graphic designer. And over to Jon to tell me a little bit about what do you do?
Yeah, so I am a graphic designer and I the studio name is actually Goodness by Design. And the aim is to create graphic design for food and drink brands that care about people and the planet. So anyone that's doing anything interesting and good is in the actual ingredients or even charitable sides of things, or the packaging, sustainability, anything that's doing good in the world.
Excellent. Thank you. So tell me, how did you get into working with those kinds of businesses?
So I've been doing freelance for a long time. I can't remember how many years now. And previously didn't really have a niche as such to do with a sector. In 2020, niche down to that I wanted to work with businesses that were doing something good. I'd worked with a few that weren't necessarily doing anything evil, but they just, it just felt like I wasn't really giving anything back particularly. Yeah. So I wanted to start working with companies that were trying to do something good. I think I worked with some like sustainable building supply companies, things like this. There were interesting projects. And then it got to near the end of 2024, and I actually had a friend that for some reason just had a complete career change, wanted to be a business coach, and basically asked me if I'd be a guinea pig. And I said, yeah, why not? I'll give it a go. I'm up for saying yes to things and seeing what happens. And one of their main things was you need to really niche down so that you become the choice of one. So if someone's looking they're a food and drink brand, which is what I ended up niching into, they're looking for a designer, and there's like 5 designers to choose from. If one of those specifies that their speciality is food and drink, then you almost become the only choice. Yeah. And I was like, okay, I'm up for trying this. Like, I was very hesitant because I was thinking, this is going to become too small. This is going to limit my options. I'm not going to have many customers to pick from. I feel like I'm closing walls down. But actually, weirdly, I've found the opposite. It's opened doors to opportunities that I think, because my offering now is so clear. And it means that when I'm writing content for my social media, I know what to talk about. I'll talk about food and drink, and design obviously gets in there as well. But it's also quite nice as a niche. I was kind of put on the spot when trying to come up with this, but I'm glad I chose it now, because it's a personal interest of mine. Like, not just eating and drinking. Obviously, most people enjoy that, but I actually like when there's new products out and interesting things with packaging, or I don't know, all of that sort of stuff interests me on a personal level. So to bring that into my work just felt natural. But yeah, I get people now bringing me stories because they're like, oh, I think this is something you'd like to talk about. So it's worked out really well.
Well, that's good. And I think it's interesting because I do lots of different things, and I talk to quite a few people who do lots of different things. And I think that's kind of almost a different challenge from the niching. But what I do like about the niching is it is actually memorable, because if there are a few people that I can think of, including you, where if I spotted a company who were looking for something, or somebody who was in that area and had was asking advice or something, I would instantly know that you were that person that I could tag in my reply or something, or
and that was almost that was almost the mindset behind the business coach was you need to be front of mind when someone has that friend that comes to them. I was like, oh, I'm trying to like set up a cafe. Do you know anyone? That was kind of the reason. And I agree. Like, when I now think of that, if someone asks me, oh, do you know a food photographer? Like, I'll be, oh, I do know a few photographers. I don't know if they do food. But then I'm like, oh, I know, yeah, there's one that I know specifically does food. Yeah. They become my only recommendation then. So I there's parts of me that I'm like, and I do still work with other industries. So there's parts of me that are like, oh, I like the variance of like lots of different work.
Yeah.
But to be honest, within food and drink, there's quite a lot of variance as well. So I don't feel too pinned in. But it is almost that fear of almost like an actor being typecast, I guess, isn't it? Is that then I only get to work on food and drink brands. But I find that food and drink so far has been, so this is just coming up to about a year that I've been doing it now.
Right.
And I find it's quite trend driven. I'm guessing most consumers in the world would notice that as well. Like protein is like obviously a big thing at the moment, and there's always like a new thing. So I feel like I've just had to tweak my kind of, not my expectation, but the way I take inspiration is more about what's the new in thing in this industry,
Right.
as opposed to what's the new exciting thing that I want to go chase in all industries.
Yeah.
So it's just changed my perspective, I guess.
Yeah. So but it means you can be more focused in the trends that you follow and the kind of things that you're interested in.
Yeah, and if I do see things in tech, because I'm also interested in like gaming, in tech, in toys and kids market as well, but I can be interested in that in a personal way. But I like now have a filter that's like, oh, but that's not what my audience is interested in, and that's the other thing. It's shaped my audience. I know that my audience, predominantly, apart from the ones that were on board before niching, are predominantly in the food and drink industry, and therefore are interested in other food and drink initiatives.
Right.
So I'm also able to play to my audience with the content I put out in a lot more relevant way. Whereas before I was talking to all of my customers who might be in tech, and then I put up a thing about a new soda, and it's like, well, I'm not interested in that. So it also drives it from that perspective as well, I hope. So yeah, it's been interesting. I am a big advocate for it now. I was very skeptical of it
Yeah.
before.
But it's why it's good to experiment, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
To
and
sort
I'm
of
not saying I'll always be doing this. I might change.
Yeah, and people could still come to you if there's somebody you know or they like what you do. They can still come to you, and you can choose whether to take on the project.
Yeah, and I've got a cheesy line that when I do talk to people, that although food and drink is my bread and butter, I do work with other companies, and they just probably won't be on the portfolio. That's the only
Yeah.
difference. But yeah, no, I am still open to other businesses. I actually had a recommendation from someone, and they weren't in the food and drink industry. I think it's like a HR business, so it's
Right.
people. So yeah, that does also happen still, which is nice because it means I get that variety every now and again.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, where do you tend to get your inspiration for? You mentioned obviously trends and things that you read about. What about other inspiration for the design work you do for those clients?
Well, yeah, luckily it becomes quite easy because I used to, and I still do enjoy going to art galleries and museums. And I think I shared one recently actually where I did actually go to, there was an exhibition on in Bristol that was just really convenient for the project I was working on. But I find that those culturally, I still enjoy them on a personal level, and sometimes they like affect my work as well. But actually, it's almost as easy as I can go to supermarkets now because I can go to the aisle that is, I don't know, say I'm working with a tea brand, for example. I can go to the tea aisle and soak up inspiration, and then obviously go to different supermarkets, have different ways of presenting and different levels. I actually prefer, I don't know what you would call them. They're like smaller maker shops, where it is normally local, like producers, or even really small, like independent companies and things. I do prefer them because I find that's where you get the more out there designs and like people pushing boundaries. But at the end of the day, the supermarket is what everyone's trying to get to. So that's where the big players are, and that's what they're looking like. And even if it's to go see them, see what they're doing and go, right, how can we challenge that? Or how can we be inspired by that but do something different? So yeah, weirdly, the supermarket, which is then very tempting to buy a lot of it. And yeah, don't go there hungry, basically.
Yeah. Well, especially if you're working on like a chocolate brand or something like that.
Yeah. I know. I think I've helped Divine Chocolate out with some design work, and it's like when you get a new car and then you see that car everywhere, don't you? Like, oh,
Yeah.
everyone seems to have this car. It's just that you notice it. And I'm like started working with them, and then started noticing other ethical sourced chocolates and things like this, and it's yeah, it's interesting, but it does make me want to buy a lot of the food.
So, so do you? So if I were to ask you what creativity, the word creativity means to you, what would you describe that as?
Yeah, I find that it's difficult because the first thing my brain jumps to, I think, is what is socially seen as creative, which is like it's like crafting, drawing, that kind of like that sector of creativity, which obviously is creativity.
Yeah.
And I even asked my children who are 8 and 10, what does like creativity mean to them?
Yeah.
And their default was that drawing, painting, creating, things like this. But I actually think, and the reason I wanted to ask them was just to see if they came up with anything more creative,
Yeah.
ironically. But I actually think it's problem solving. I think it is, and that problem may not be a problem that is like, it might be, oh, how do we make this fun to play with this toddler with a pile of bricks?
Yeah.
And then that there's a creative process there to build that into, okay, let's see who can build the tallest tower and then knock it down. But that in itself for me that's creativity. You've created something from nothing. But the problem solving aspect, and maybe it's not the right term because it's not necessarily a problem. The problem there was, how do I make this fun?
Yeah.
But I think it's there being something you want to make or change,
Yeah.
and then using your ideas and your brain to overcome it. So people are doing that constantly. Like you're cooking a meal and you're like, oh, do you know what? I'm going to add some salt to this, or I haven't got cumin, so I'm going to add coriander. Like it, that's a sense to me. That's elements of creativity. You're testing something. You're pushing boundaries to solve a problem,
Yeah.
and it's like connecting dots, things like that. And I just think that I don't think anyone isn't creative. I think everyone has creativity in them. However, I think people have practiced it more. So it's a bit like some children are really, really good at football. Well, yeah, they play it every single lunchtime. They're practicing in the evening. They've got their own goal in the garden. Do you know what I mean? They're
Yeah.
they're practicing that skill. And I think that creatives, it does feel that it comes naturally more to some people than others. And I think that there is an element of that. But I do think that it's something that you could also practice. I think that a lot of people shut themselves down and tell themselves they're not creative. Um, but then you can quite easily pick things out of their daily life and be like, well, like you all wear uniform at school. How did you customize yours? And they'd be like, oh, I used to wear these pin badges on my tie. It's like, there you go. You were being creative in something that's supposed to be uniform. Everyone does their own little thing, whether it's folding up the
Yeah.
sleeves or wearing their tie big. Like I remember at school, everyone looked, to me, I guess from the outside, everyone looked like they had a uniform, but everyone added their own little personal touch to it, which is creativity. At the end of the day, it's playfulness, isn't it? It's doing something that makes it unique to you. But
Individual.
yeah, yeah, it is, and it's difficult because I think the word creativity does make people think of creative things like creating art or music or something like that.
Yeah, it is, and it's tricky. I mean, because I mean, I've spent lots of years trying to figure out how to, well, figuring out what words to use to talk about the kinds of people I like working with, who are, I mean, in my case, it's the people who've got creative brains and a lot of ideas.
Hmm.
But actually trying to describe that is quite challenging because there are so many different definitions of creativity, and depending on who you are and what lens you're seeing it through, kind of depends on what your definition is.
Yeah.
Because I think you're right. Everyone, and quite a few of the guests on this podcast have also said this, that yes, everyone's creative in different ways. Because I think, as you say, it could be problem solving. It could be playing a role in working with somebody who has lots of ideas, and they're the really creative one, and you're the person who kind of helps them along, helps them
Yeah.
get it to turn
It's
into
like an
something.
editor for a book, isn't it? It's like they're
Yeah,
not the author, but they're the ones that are like, do you know what? This chapter's not needed. Like, just take this whole bit out, or this needs to go at the
Yeah.
end because it ruins the story. Like, that's just as creative as the person that's created the story, I think. But it's like you said, it's a different skill set.
Well, it's just different roles in the creative process, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think, and then that's what I tend to call creative thinking, which is
Hmm.
all of the sort of the process, how ideas happen and how they kind of end up coming into being. And then creative expression, which is all the drawing, the painting, and then some things that you might not expect, like, as you say, like the example with the uniform. How do people dress? What kind of, what do they put in their garden?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Cooking.
Going into someone's home is a real insight into their creativity, isn't it? Into, well, how do they decorate their house? How do
Yeah.
they lay things out? What colour are their walls? Like that, it is fascinating going into people's homes, isn't it? And it is, I
What
guess
was
it's
that?
that. You're seeing someone's mind in a way, aren't you?
Yes, yeah, I hadn't thought about that because, but yes, what is in someone's house is a reflection of what they're interested in and what they're prioritising, because
Hmm.
they're choosing to put that on their wall, aren't they?
Yeah, it's the
So,
thing that they're
like,
choosing. Well, it's a bit like your clothes, isn't it? It's the thing you're choosing to put on the outside to portray to other people what you either believe in or what you feel or what you want to look like. Your
yeah,
home is, I guess it's almost the more intimate version though, isn't it? Because it's not really to share most of the time. It is for yourself to enjoy. But so it's probably more authentic. I've never really thought about this either.
mm.
You've sent
No,
me down
yeah.
a rabbit hole in my mind of like, oh, actually, I want to explore more people's homes.
Well, actually, I'm just thinking, even just looking at the backgrounds of, if you were to look at the background of where you are, and
Yeah.
describe some of those things that you've got in the background, there's probably stories attached to some of them.
Yeah, do you know what I think almost everything has a story. I like surrounding myself with what I class as little memories as well. I guess it's
Mm.
like why people get like tattoos. It's like, oh, that reminds me of going there or doing this or
Yeah.
something. But yeah, no, I do like decorating my space that I'm in most of the day with things that I like bring me memories or I just like to look at.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I think if you're lucky enough, I mean, this is also my office. I'm in my office, and
Yeah.
yeah, this is the place where I keep all the stuff that I don't put anywhere else in the house. That other people in the house might go, we don't want that in there.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
that's true.
Mummy, we don't need more penguins. No. Okay then.
Oh, it
So, yeah.
reminds me when I was a child, I was obsessed with penguins.
Oh,
And
really?
my bedroom in my parents' house was a shelf above my bed,
Mm.
and they probably remember the number, but in my head it felt like hundreds. It was just covered with soft penguins, and
Oh,
yeah, it's making it reminiscent of my bedroom.
what happened to them all? They just get given
Yeah,
away.
well, I don't know. So obviously, I must have got to college or I moved bedroom. I can't remember. But this is sad because I must have been quite young, but I can't remember what happened to them.
Mm.
They're probably in a bag in the loft in my parents' house still.
So you're talking about creativity and creative expression. Do you do, obviously you do graphic design. Are there other
Mm.
things that you do? Like, do you do painting yourself or anything like that?
Um, no, I was about to say no. I don't do anything creative. I'm trying to think. I enjoy photography,
Mm.
but not to the level of that. I've got a DSLR or anything. I have had that in the past, but annoyingly, phones are so like easy now that but I do enjoy trying to capture like the feeling of places and like capturing nice images and things like that. So I
Yeah.
enjoy photography, and music is probably the other sort of creative outlet. Again, it's not on any big level, but with the kids especially, I like to listen to a lot of music and I like to go and watch it live when possible. But I do quite like playing. I used to be in a band. I used to play the drums.
Right.
And then since I just like having the instruments. So I play a bit of guitar, ukulele, things like this. I'm not that good at any of them, but yeah, I enjoy doing that. I think in my free time it is, yeah, mostly music. I would say probably dominates a lot of it, as in listening
Mm.
to music. I don't really draw though, and it's something I would love to do more of.
Mm.
Sketching, things like that. I used to do it when we went on holiday. This was one of our holidays before having children. I remember going to Musée, I'm butchering the pronunciation of this, but Musée d'Orsay in Paris.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And I remember sitting and drawing or sketching the clock that you can see when you're on the inside of it.
Mm.
But I've now got a really vivid memory of sitting in that spot because obviously I was paying attention to every little detail.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I want to do that more because it really makes you appreciate it, like everything about it. Um, so I would like to do that, and it's something I maybe become a New Year's resolution of like I want to sketch more. Like when we go away somewhere, I take even if it's just a little notepad. I don't want to post it anywhere,
Yeah.
but just sit there and sketch things. I'm not that great at it, but I quite enjoy it. It's quite therapeutic. So yeah, that's something I want to get more into
Mm. Well,
if
that's
I
quite
can.
nice because that's just about being present, isn't it?
Yeah,
And you're just concentrating on that one thing and noticing all the things that you're writing
yeah,
and
that's what I
drawing.
think I like about it. And when I even think back at it or I look at the sketch, I'm like, God, yeah, I remember that, and I remember that little detail, and I remember this. And it kind of unlocks even more than a photo because it's normally done over a period of time.
Yeah.
So even though a sketch looks like a snapshot, it's actually not, is it? It's really like 30 minutes of your time that little things happened or came in and out. Um, yeah, no, that's making me want to go sketch now.
Well, all you need is a notebook and 5 minutes.
I
I
know.
mean, yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
you don't have to
exactly.
do a grand. That I mean, that's one of the things I always say if I'm talking about doing that kind of creative thing. That actually, you don't need to spend 3 hours doing some amazing painting. You just
No,
need, 15 minutes. You can sit there and scribble something and go, oh look, I did that.
yeah.
Well, it's a
That's
bit like,
actually that's probably my other creative outlet, which is ironic that I said earlier on that this was an example of creativity that you don't think of as creative.
mm,
But I'm really into pizza making at the moment. I got a pizza
oh right,
oven a couple of years ago, but
yeah,
like trying to come up with toppings, I'm not a sticker for the rules. I'm not going to be like, oh no, that shouldn't go on a pizza. So yesterday we did one. We did a few weird ones yesterday, but one of them was mango chutney base instead of a tomato base
ooh,
with mozzarella and pepper on top. But it was my favourite. It wasn't.
mm,
Um, they're all pretty nice, but yeah, I was the one that chose that one as my favourite because we all kind of voted on them. But I enjoy that. I like trying to come up with new flavours or something that maybe hasn't been done before, we've not tasted before. So
yeah.
food comes back again, full circle. Food becomes my creative output as well.
See, now I'm feeling hungry. It's probably just as well I have
Sorry.
actually just had lunch, but
I apologise. I did this on another podcast. I ended up talking about food and drink a lot.
but that's okay because it means people remember you as well if you're talking about food
Yeah,
and
true.
drink.
They just remember me for being annoyed that they're hungry.
Yeah. So, have you got any kind of food or drink brands that you'd love to work with that you're kind of putting out there and
Um,
saying, "I'd love to work with you"?
well, so Tony's Chocolate Only, I think, has been an interesting one.
Mm.
They also get quite a lot of slack for various reasons I won't go into now because it takes a while.
Yeah.
So I'm aware of that side of things as well. But I do think that at their core, they're trying to do something good, and they have raised the awareness of that there is slavery within the chocolate industry. So I think as a mission-led brand, which they've always said they're a mission first, chocolate second.
Yeah.
Um, so I actually really kind of admire their approach and the fact that they are that openly mission first. I think it's just been questionable some of the sourcing. They aren't sourcing. They're still sourcing slave free chocolate, but they're using a company that also doesn't really care about that. So
Right.
people are saying, well, it's a bit contradictory. But I think I would love to work with them. I think they've pushed boundaries on what people expect chocolate brands to look like on the shelf. And yeah, there's a lot of people kind of trying to play catch up a little bit with them. Trying to think if there's anyone else. There's I kind of like the idea of getting working with some more not necessarily influencers, but like content creators. So
Mm.
when you think food and drink, you tend to sort of jump to products, things that
Yeah.
you can buy and eat and drink like almost instantly, which is one other thing of why I love this niche. Like it's so accessible. If
Yeah.
someone mentions a new chocolate bar to me, I'm like, oh yeah, I can go buy it. I can try it. I can taste it.
Yeah.
Like,
It's for you. Yeah.
yeah, like tech though, you see someone will say, oh, there's this new thing that's amazing. You're like, oh, I really want to do that, and it's like, oh yeah, it's £4,000. It's like it's not very accessible.
Yeah.
Whereas I find that food and drink is mostly accessible. I have been working on a project at the moment with Sorted Food, who are a YouTube channel.
Right.
So that's been quite fun because obviously they are more content creators. Um, but yeah, maybe more of that I think would be
Mm.
nice. Something that's not necessarily the obvious of like food and drink,
Yeah.
and spaces as well. I'm interested in that, as in restaurants, cafes, places where people meet to share food and drink. I'm quite interested in getting into maybe even like the what's the word? Interior design, that sort of element.
Mm.
That would be quite fun. I like taking on challenges of things I haven't necessarily done before, and then
Yeah.
learning very quickly how to do it.
Because in fact, yeah, interesting you say that because I was chatting to there was someone I met at an event just before the summer, and yeah, she was doing interior design but focusing on restaurants. So
Yeah,
focusing on how the and not just the I think not just the aesthetics, but also how it felt and kind of
yeah, how it like flows and things.
the environment of the
Yeah, see,
restaurant.
that
So,
fascinates me. And you can feel it when you go in a place that's been thought through like that. You either they've done it accidentally or it's been very well thought out. But I think you can feel the difference of like, oh, this just feels like it's got like good vibes. Like it feels like a good
mm,
place to be. Um, so I'm always kind of appreciative of that. But that's kind of a hidden job, isn't it? No one's really thinking about that. Of like, oh, I wonder who designed this. It's just like, oh, this is a cool place. There's a book I've read. I've forgotten the author. I think it's Charles Spence. It's called Sense Hacking, and it is all about senses, and it's almost a crossover with marketing or branding, and it's
yeah,
how companies can use senses to their advantage. So a lot of it is challenging things, but there's certain shops that will have a certain scent that when you go in it, it will be the same worldwide. So you've got
mm,
that familiarity, and you're like, oh, I know this, and it feels like home kind of thing. But that fascinates me. I wish I'd done psychology at college.
mm,
So my wife did psychology, and I went into college thinking I wanted to be an architect. I knew I wanted something creative, so I did this art course that had like 12 modules in of textiles, photography, computer arts. It was like every aspect of
yeah,
art. And then I did maths and physics because I was doing architecture in my mind. I got
right,
halfway through the first year, I think, and I did the computer arts module. And my tutor sort of took me to one side and was like, you're actually quite good at this. Like,
mm,
do you enjoy it?
yeah,
Because it's like, it's good to be good at something, but some people are good at something, but they hate doing it.
yeah,
And he's
exactly,
like, and I was like, actually, yeah, I did really enjoy it because at the time I was very interested in computers and like what the new tech was bringing in at the
mm,
time, and yeah, just that conversation basically changed my life course
mm.
to graphic design because I didn't know it was a thing. It was one of those things that it's just around you, isn't it? You don't know that someone's behind that. You don't think about that.
No,
Um,
no,
but yeah, that was one of those moments where if I go back, it's like the fork in the road. It like split me off a different way.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's really. I suppose that's your ikigai as well, isn't it? Have you heard that phrase before? The Japanese thing.
Yes, the one with all the
I don't know if
circles.
that's how you pronounce it, but essentially that was two of them ticked off. It was I enjoy it and I was good at it, and I suppose what you can be paid for it. So it was three of them, and then
Yeah.
it was what the world needs. So it's like that's where I've put that last one in of like doing something good for people in the planet is like adding that fourth element.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, no, it's weird when you go back through your life like that, and like you realise these little moments of like, oh, that's what changed the course of
Mm.
my life.
And it's it's funny. One of the things I'm finding really fascinating about doing these conversations is that there's always something in a conversation that ties into another conversation that I've had. So I was
Yeah,
recording another episode earlier, and interestingly, we were talking about those conversations with people where it changes what you do. It
yeah.
gives a different viewpoint on something, and you go, ah, right, yes, and you off you go, and you.
Well, I suppose that's going back to the start. That's the business coach. If I hadn't had that
Mm,
random text through that said, I'm trying to get three people that I want to do this for free to test this idea, if I hadn't said yes to that, or if I'd missed the message or whatever, I probably wouldn't be where I am now.
yeah,
It's really because that led to basically me leaving my full time job and doing freelance 100%, which
yeah,
is not where I was a year ago. I still had a part-time job, which was creative as well. I was the lead of a creative team, so it's not like I was doing what people call like a day job, which is completely different. I was being creative in both senses, but at that whole niching down and that conversation, again, one of those pivotal moments of that changed the course of my career, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really odd when you look back though, because I see it like a tree, all these little branches, and there's like, oh, what would have happened if I went that way? Going back to a conversation we had earlier about inspiration, I do think that part of inspiration is it's around you all the time. It's about turning your awareness on or off to it. And I think sometimes you it's perfectly fine to say that you are turning it off because you're overwhelmed or you haven't got the capacity for it. But I do think there is a difference between having that open-mindedness turned on or not, and being open to be like, oh, that sounds good, I'm going to investigate it, instead of just like, oh, that sounds good, and then it's dismissed kind of thing.
Yeah, and just make, when those little things occur to you, just making a note of them. Even if at the time it doesn't seem significant, or you don't want to pursue it because you haven't got time, but still keeping a note of it so that one day.
Oh, notes. That's how I pretty much, I guess, mark my inspiration, is that I take notes of everything, and often I'm looking back through my notes on my phone and I'm like, I don't know what that means anymore. But it's about, I think creativity as well is about taking two seemingly random different things and putting them together to make something new. It's essentially how most music is, isn't it? It's two different genres from the past that have then come together, or like the band members are influenced by what they listen to, but they listen to a different set of music to their friends. It's all stuff like that. And I think I note stuff down so that I remember it. I feel that the act of writing or the act of typing it out makes me remember it more. But maybe there is something in that people that are classed as creative, maybe they are more open to inspiration or noting it as opposed to just letting it pass by. Maybe that's a difference. I don't know.
I mean, I certainly think that probably the thing that I always talk about as probably being the first thing that happened was when I did this thing called the 30-day challenge, and I decided to write a blog and do a blog and write on it every day. And I think when I first did it, I think I thought I was going to do some factual writing or something. And what I ended up doing was what I called creative snippets. I think people call vignettes or something. Where I would just sit down for 20 minutes and I would write about something, but it was always about things I'd noticed. So
I like that.
And I noticed that as I started doing this, I actually started actively going out for more walks. I would get home from work, and instead of just sitting on the sofa, I'd go, oh, right, I'm just going to go for a walk around the block for 15 minutes. And then I'd go for a walk, and then I'd see a great leaf with some water on it, and I'd take a picture, or I'd go, oh, that's a really nice colour. And I'd write down all these things that I was seeing, and they'd make their way into these things that I was writing.
So you're almost actively looking for inspiration in a way.
Yeah. And so I think that was kind of the beginning of it, because it was that just starting to notice stuff and being more aware of it, and all of that then led to all sorts of other things. And, that was sort of 10.
It's interesting though, isn't it? Like that decision to take part in that 30-day challenge then led to that. Yeah, I love things like that as well. I love like the rejection challenge, things like that.
Yeah, there's so many things in that. But I mean, I feel like we could carry on talking about this for hours. Actually. But we should probably both go and do a bit of work, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
So I'll just ask you, where, if people are interested in finding out more about you, where can they find you online?
So my website is goodnessbydesign.com, and I'm on Instagram as Jon from Goodness, and also on LinkedIn as Jon from Goodness as well, or just Jon Richards. And that's Jon spelled Jon, to be awkward. But basically Instagram and the website is where you're going to probably find the most information.
Okay, excellent. That's great. So thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thanks, Jon. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Creative Conversations. I'm Nina Lenton. I'd love to know your thoughts on today's topic. You can contact me via my website at ninalenton.co.uk.